This week we are at the Ohio State House inside the office of the Senate President, and joining us right now for an update is Senate President Keith Faber.
Good to see you. Good to see you, John.
So we're right now in the middle of a legislative recess. Can you tell us what members are doing right now?
Well, unlike recess when we were in school, our members aren't out there just playing. They should be out there meeting their constituents and working to find out firsthand what's going on around Ohio, so it will make our legislation, particularly this budget process, a little stronger. In fact, just this week, I've met with a number of superintendents and folks in school to talk about workforce development and how the new governor's proposed budget is going to impact them.
You mentioned the budget. It's the big talk on Capitol Square right now. Currently in the House, but we'll be shortly coming over here to the Senate. Can you talk about the process from this point forward?
Sure. The budget is required by the Constitution to be passed and signed by the governor by the 1st of July. And so between now and then, the budget, which is currently in the House, should come over to the Senate probably around the 1st of May or so, or thereabouts. And from that time period, we will work on the budget in the Senate until about the 1st of June. And from there, the House and the Senate version will go to what's called a conference committee, where we'll try and work out the differences and try and make sure we get it to the governor for signature by July 1st.
What are some of those items? I mean, people are talking about Medicaid and tax reform. What are some of the things that you can give us a preview about?
Oh, there's a lot of big stuff in this governor's budget. He has been not afraid to think boldly. And one of those things is the new school funding program. And we're trying to make sure that the governor's proposed school funding program gets to the heart of what we need to do to improve education in Ohio. The other things you mentioned were the new tax proposal. The governor has put forward a suggested tax cut. We're all for that tax cut in Ohio. The question is, what are you going to do and how are you going to make sure it works for all Ohioans? And the one part of that most people seem to support in the Senate is the small business tax cut. And that's a cut that's designed to create jobs and to grow the economy.
So while the budget is going to dominate a lot of the conversation, there have been a few other things that have happened here in the first 3 months of the year. What are some of the accomplishments that you can look to at this point, and then some of the big agenda items moving forward?
Well, the number one thing we've been working on in the Senate is jobs and economic growth. And that's where we started out with SB 1. SB 1 I anticipate to come out and be voted on probably the week or the week after we get back from break. It is a revolving loan fund for workforce development. It's targeting those folks who need a little bit of extra training to get that next better job. We've been working on bills like the transportation budget, which we just passed, and that's something that may be the largest job creation bill we're going to do this year. Upwards of 35,000 new jobs in Ohio just based on the extra transportation infrastructure projects we're going to be working on. The other thing we're working on is regulatory reform. We need to streamline the way Ohio regulates businesses, particularly small businesses, so we can help grow and strengthen the economy.
Well, there's plenty for us to talk about. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm sure we'll be talking with you a few more times. Meanwhile, there are quite a few other things that happened at the State House this week. Senator Kevin Bacon was at COSI in Columbus to help kick off Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention Month. Attendees planted these pinwheels, which are the national symbol for child abuse and neglect prevention.
It's the people on the ground, it's the people out there detecting it, out there creating awareness, working with families, and just community awareness in general is where we can really combat it the most effectively.
Senator Frank LaRose recognized an Ohio hero this week. Copley police officer Ben Campbell received the Congressional Badge of Bravery for his response to a mass shooting in Northeast Ohio back in 2011.
Any professional law enforcement officer goes to work every day or night not knowing if they're going to have to face a situation exactly like what Ben Campbell faced.
Last week, we told you about a bill passed by the Senate to protect law enforcement. This bill provides police with information on suspects who have a violent record, but were sentenced to mental health treatment instead of incarceration. It was named for Deputy Suzanne Hopper, who was killed in the line of duty.
The unfortunate part for Deputy Hopper and all the law enforcement that came to her aid that day was that information that's available in the public record was not available to law enforcement through their database and readily accessible to them.
That's it for this week. As always, you can keep up to date with us every day on Facebook and Twitter at Ohio Senate GOP, or visit our website, ohiosenate.gov/Republicans. Thanks for watching.